All right, all right. Andy invited me back again onto his channel. He must have liked the first video and not wanting to fire me because I did a bad job. So I also saw some of the comments. I really appreciate anyone who left a positive comment about my first video on the channel. It's really good to, receive positive feedback, some constructive feedback too. Generally good response. So I'm going to keep making videos for Andy's channel as long as he wants me to. And today we're going to focus on, well, the title I've called this is Stuff Won't Just Happen to You. It requires a little bit of background explanation because it comes from a recent coaching situation we had with a guy, and I hope he doesn't mind me talking about this on this video. He's a great dude. It's incredibly cool to coach this guy because he's so outgoing and social, and also he's made the changes that after this coaching moment, he immediately made the changes and got the results from this. So very happy, and hopefully he won't mind me talking about it. So we often say, take action. Andy says it, I say it. We want guys to get over their analysis paralysis, get over their mental masturbation, stop wasting their time, stop not doing things. And this not only comes from starting self-improvement, but it also comes when you have very important situations in your journey where you are really close to getting something that you want, and it requires you to take a very small but potentially very scary action. And the reason I wanted to call this Stuff Won't Just Happen to You is because I see a mindset from some guys where they're called it sort of doing things, but they're expecting certain results to come from luck or chance or someone else's actions impacting on their life. And that's what I want to get away from. I want you to get away from thinking that things will just happen to you. There are some times if you don't play the numbers game, eventually you'll get a good result. A girl will give you her number and then go on dates and then sleep with you. That's true. So in some sense that will happen to you. But there are actions you have to take at every single stage for that stuff to come to fruition, for the numbers game to work for you. It is all about taking action, even though some of the chance is random. Now, this particular client, he was saying, so he had a girl on a date, and he was saying that he went on a few dates with some girls and nothing came of them. And Andy and I and a couple of others in the group were suggesting that he tries to sleep with girls on the first date. This is an old GLL wisdom. It's if she was going to sleep with you on the third date, then she may have slept with you on the second date. And if she slept with you on the second date, then she would have slept with you on the first date. So it's worth trying to go for it on the first date, especially if you're new and you haven't had much experience. It's really good to get some of the first date lay experience because it really makes you feel like a winner when you can go on a date and meet a girl and you're immediately that same night going back with her. And yeah, this guy responded to us asking him have you ever tried to sleep with a girl on the first date? And the response was, well, that hasn't happened to me. And this is immediately Andy and I were both jumping to interrupt on the Zoom call. It was no. It doesn't just happen to you. Have you tried to make it happen? Have you tried to take the action towards making this happen for you? And the guy thought about it and was no, I didn't invite her back. And it's okay. So there was one action you could have taken in that moment to get the result that what you would have wanted, sleeping with that girl. And all you have to do is invite them home. All you have to say is, hey, I've got some wine at my place. Do you want to come and share some with me? Hey, do you want to come watch a movie at my place? Whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say, which is usually code for, do you want to come have sex? You can also just say, do you want to come have sex? But typically that's a little bit too, what's the word? It's too forward in the language, even though the girl understands what you're saying when you say, do you want to come and share some wine? It's one of those stupid things that kind of has to be done in that way. So this guy immediately in the next week, I think afterwards, reported that he'd been able to take a girl out on Tinder for the first time and then take her back. And he was ecstatic about it. And I don't know if he would have done this if me and Andy hadn't been essentially triggered by his phrasing. The phrasing that he used just immediately set alarm bells off in both mine and Andy's heads, because it tells you so much about how a guy's thinking about things. He's not thinking that his actions have a significant impact on his dating life, and they do. Lays don't just happen to you. I think the best way, dating is really simple. You can basically, what's it called? Where you deconstruct things down to the simplest form, whatever. Basically, you can bring dating down to the simplest form, and it basically goes to guy initiates, girl decides. That's all it is. You have to initiate, and you have to put her to a decision about you. Now, sometimes you're going to get rejected. That's unfortunate. But a lot of the times, if you're out on a date, you've already made it past the approach or online, she's liked your profile, you're making a good impression on the date. You have to put her to a decision as to whether or not she wants to actually sleep with you. Now, some girls aren't going to want to sleep with you on the first date, but I think it's always valuable for the guy to try. And also, don't worry about it if you're thinking that you might lose this girl because you tried to sleep with her on the first date. I've actually found that doesn't happen very often. There's been girls who've turned me down on the first date and were happy enough on the second date. Actually sparks a conversation sometimes when a girl's like, hey, no, I'm not feeling it on the first date, but, in the future, potentially. And that sometimes makes the girl feel more comfortable because, sex has now been brought up on the table in terms of like a conversation, and it's not all happening in the background in between the lines. So yeah, guy initiates, girl decides. I need you guys to be initiating if you want to have dating success. And this goes beyond just dating as well. Like, stuff just won't happen to you goes well beyond dating. And the example I'm going to talk about is Andy himself. So a few of us in the community are trying to build up YouTube channels, trying to build up our own websites, our own content. And a lot of us complain about like the algorithm, like whether or not we're spiking the algorithm, whether or not we're making things that are algorithm friendly. Andy didn't give a damn about any of that. Like, if you've been watching his stuff for a while or been looking at his podcast for a while, he didn't care in the beginning. He built his growth by physically sharing his content around the internet. That's how Andy built his way up. He didn't sit there hoping that the YouTube gods or the Spotify gods or the whatever SEO gods people would come and find his website just because it was up. No, he went to Reddit. He took action while loads of people sit around and just wait for the algorithm gods to give them their success. Andy was like, nah, I'm going to go straight to the cesspit of the internet, which is Reddit. No offense. I don't like that website. But he went there and he posted his stuff and he got torrents of negative comments and bad reactions. Like, he went through the fire to build up his website. And this is a guy, bearing in mind, in terms of his importance to me, he has done more for me than basically any person outside of my family. Outside of my parents and my grandparents, Andy has done more for me than any other living human. And I had to watch this guy get absolutely like attacked by nobodies essentially on the internet who said the worst things to him possible. And he did all of this because he was taking action to grow his channel, and he knew there would be some negative blowback. He knew this was going to happen, and he kept on doing it because he didn't want to sit around and wait for the business success that just happened to him. And now you can see, now he's making a 6-figure income off coaching. Now his channel is finally starting to take off. It's still very algorithm unfriendly, let's be honest. Like, just if you look at half of his content, the algorithm is just not going to push this. YouTube is just not going to push this. But he succeeded despite of that, in spite of that even, because he had the balls to go out there and be like, no, I'm not going to take what's given to me. I'm going to go out there and get it. I'm going to get the audience. I'm going to go and drag the audience, all of you watching, by the scruffs of your neck to my content. And that's precisely sums up what I'm talking about in this video. That stuff won't just happen to you. You have to have like that indomitable will to go out there and like force it to happen, or at least, in the context of a girl, ask politely if she'd like to come back to the house and have sex with you. That's basically what it is. But no, it was tough for me to watch Andy do what he needed to do to build this channel, and it was very tough for him. And yeah, not all of these actions are going to be fun. I think that's the other point. Like, I know some of you are terrified to like approach girls in the first place, but then even more, you're still terrified to invite girls back. We've all had that like pit in our stomachs of like, before we ask a girl to come home. We've all had that like moment of like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I have the balls to actually do this. And have you see guys fail? Like, and that's okay, by the way. If you're going to try something, if you can't bring yourself to do it because you're just too nervous, that's going to happen. What matters is you keep going out there and keep attempting until you manage to get it done. I think me and Andy are both very understanding of how scary and difficult it is for a lot of guys, especially guys who've grown up their entire time not having any success in dating. And I'm sure for Andy, if we're moving it back to Andy's business example, like, he's the first business he's ever built. Like, he was terrified to do any of this stuff. Some of the subjects he talks about, Like, not just like the sex stuff. Like, obviously it's a little bit like talking about sex and dating online. It can be a little bit like intimidating to post stuff about that. But talking about like depression, talking about the depths of human experience, talking about how low he went, his agoraphobia, all of that stuff, that is terrifying to put on the internet. And he's done it anyway. And then not only did he put it on the internet, he went and shared it to make sure people actually watched it. He always tells me to share my stuff, and like I'm still pretty bad at doing that. Like, it's one of those things where I know it would really help. And so this part of this video has been me telling myself that I need to do stuff more. So that's my actionable advice for me from this video. My actionable advice for you guys, I presume most of you are going to be in the dating mode. Like, I think a lot of Andy's audience is more focused on dating. So don't think that any results you get in dating are just going to happen to you. You've always got to be taking action, spotting the actions you can take to get the results you want. And then, you know, going for it. That's the point. Going for it, doing the things you know you need to do. It's really simple. Dating is really simple. Don't let people tell you that dating is complicated. Essentially, as I said, you have to put girls to decisions, and then the girl makes a decision on you, and that is the result of your dating. So simple. So take those actions when they are it's like glaring you in the face. Staring you in the face. Take those actions. Right. Hope you guys got something from this video. A little bit shorter than last time. And I will see you when Andy wants another video. Peace out.